Hi, I'm Pete Farmer, and this is the version 11 FootDrum for the 2020 year. I had a lot of improvements that had been developing over a course of years, some from customers and some from just lots of doodling on paper and trying to figure it out, and finally got ahead of it. I think one of the biggest features here, right now we have a midnight black 12-pedal FootDrum, is our right heel pedal. It'll be featured on the 9-pedal as well as the 12-pedal. So it is a release in what we'll call a snare drag. So when you hit your heel on both the snare arm and this little pedal, you get really neat, complicated beats that allow you to perform some magic with the snare drum. Of course, you have your snare drum over here still. On this other side, we now are able to do jingles, egg shaker, any sort of percussion-y item coming down on top of the hi-hat. So it's a nice little versatility on the 12 pedal. On the 9 pedal here, I've introduced a couple clackers as a default sound. That is one over there and one over there. These are going to be, of course, probably extended out for a crash cymbal. It can play up to about 17, maybe 18 inches, depending on the way you have it all networked with our PDP tilts. And of course over there. I think a lot of people like to have at the top of their toe extended out. That drumstick is hitting a crash or a splash cymbal up there. So you put one PDP tilter up there and perhaps a 12-inch or 10-inch shallow tom right up here on your left side, played with that outer pedal. Default now on our 12 pedal is going to be a bell. And that bell is connected to where the tool slot is right up here. And it just allows for that kind of accent note more than anything. Of course, an egg shaker or a jingle stick can also be played here as perhaps a shallow cowbell if you found some creative ways to make it work out with a short drumstick. On this far right outer pedal, of course, is our shaker or jingle stick or another stick coming out where you could hit a 10-inch splash and maybe a 14-inch crash. The two sticks coming out can sometimes articulate a stacked pair of hats. Pretty exciting stuff because this really opens up a lot of creativity for making that work. To take a look a little bit inside, we have, of course, our 12-inch snare drum, a little safety latch on the side. And on the inside, here's that drumstick coming up on a release hit. And it's weighted on the back. That's how you get your staggered hit. You can adjust this so it's a single hit. Or, of course, you can put an egg shaker or a jingle stick back there. As well as, you can mount with a PDP tilter on the underside where your snare is mounted. You can mount that PDP tilter down there for a 10-inch splash cymbal. And that would be a nice little accent note as well. This stick is articulated and can actually move side to side. I think you can even put that right over on this left heel pedal that would play ordinarily the snare, and you can make it play the underside of the hat for, again, another very interesting combination. A couple other cool features here that I like is that we have our snare sizzler right there. It's got two little scissors with a magnet underneath. We have on the underside of this is a drop clutch. And that drop clutch allows you to be playing mid-performance. That's a regular hi-hat going up and down, drop clutch. It's now deactivated. However, any hat hitting it is going to be allowed to have kind of a tight closed hit sound. So kind of a nice feature. This also has a high-low feature, so a really high energy bounce and a really low, slow, and steady bounce for this hi-hat. So that's a new feature for this year's model as well. Like I said, we have our clackers that are mounted underneath here. We have, of course, I think the most stunning part of this new FootDrum is this double-sided, double-headed bass drum. We're sticking with our 4-inch shell and adding a resonant head to the front. This resonant head is probably going to come with that center 7-inch port hole in the middle, allowing you to stuff your muffling device, if you will, or a microphone, or any sort of other carry-ons that you may have that you want to stow inside of this bass drum when you put it into the stow mode. Kind of a nice sounding drum. It adds a little bit more complexity to the sound. Gives you 2 drum heads to kind of manipulate as far as the tuning and the way you play, of course, the beater. It really adds that depth when you're recording. Acoustically, it's a little bit more, like I said, nuanced. I don't think it's going to blow people away as far as sound, but when you're really playing this drum kit, you're looking at this as a comparable to our 12-inch snare, our bass drum, and of course up to 14-inch hi-hats mounted inside. One of the cool things about this bass drum is that it's going to come with spurs, and these spurs are going to be able to allow you to play it normally with a bass drum pedal. So aside with your bass drum, your snare drum, and your hi-hats, and maybe your crash and your other cymbals, you have a whole drum kit that you can just take off of your FootDrum and play separately if you so desire. Again, on the inside of this drum, we have been working tirelessly for many years to try to get everything compacted in there and used in a portable setting. This portable setting is under 48 pounds and allows you to go anywhere in the world in a suitcase-sized, compartmented sort of case, if you will. I don't have all those cases in mind because some of you are just going to be playing at home and some of you are going to be traveling the world on a world tour. Our rear feet are now adjustable in their height. The standard playing height is about an 18-degree angle, similar to a lot of bass drum pedals, but extending this up will be simply adjusting 2 bolts in the back, and you have probably about a 5-degree angle for playing, just a different way to play. Some people have to sit up a little higher to do that. Other than that, we have, of course, our magnetic springs. Our magnetic springs are on all of our accent posts, in the back and the front, on our hi-hat, on our upward hitting drumstick with the hats, as well as our down hitting drumstick on the hats. It's sprung in a way with the bass drum lever to be like any other bass drum. You have your adjustable features that allow you to get that perfect swing that you're used to if you're a drum player. Once all stowed up, got a little tool area back here, as well as a couple tools and spare felts located inside of these rubber feet in case one of these felts wear down. With taking this adjustment tool, this 4mm Allen wrench, I can now swivel all of these drumsticks, mainly the snares and the hi-hat hitter, to swivel wherever you want to have them swivel. And that's kind of a nice feature for getting different kind of things like a snare brush that we have developed for this year's model. Gets you just a little softer of a hit. Also, you'll notice that there's felts on the bottom or top of all of these drumsticks, allowing just a little bit of a subtle mute, in the case of the cymbals, a dramatic mute, to soften up the sound a little bit. Of course, our magnetically sprung levers also allow for a little bit of a shorter throw or a longer throw, developing a little bit of a different sound difference as well as volume difference. Another couple of features that I think is nice for this model, we have a aluminum frame that is reinforced with some nice stainless steel all-metric hardware that makes this unit a lot more sturdy than previous year's models. Over here we have our spare drumstick that in case you want to use for switching out any of these. We have quick releasing mechanisms on all of our drumsticks with an ergonomically rubber isolated finger touch that allows for just a little bit of movement inside of this drumstick. Of course, with the spring adjustable and magnetic, allows you to get that sensitivity and touch every single time. That's it. It's really just about getting together and playing some music and breaking it down and setting it up as fast as you can. On this right side here, you can see a little clip where you can put your bass drum into, and on this back side, just a simple little hole in which one of these tension rods goes into. And I'm going to try it now. see how far we get back to fit in that hole. Simply turn it down. And now your bass drum is stowed to the bottom of your foot drum. Simple little package that took me many years to perfect, I hope. This drum is for sale with 3 different configurations: the 6-pedal, the 9-pedal, and the 12-pedal. It now comes with a series of color choices that you can make. We have counter hoops, the shell, and what we'll call our top board and our side board. We'll offer it in 2 different color schemes. 8 selections for the main color, it'll be your shell or the top board. And as a secondary color choice, you also get the same 8 colors to choose from. Whether you want to have this be blonde, brunette, or even green. They're all available for you to choose and customize your drum. I hope you have lots of questions, as I'm sure you will. This video will be updated in the future with lots more discernible little facts that'll hopefully get you well on your way to getting a foot drum mastered in no time. Thanks for watching. I'm Pete.